All aboard as we set sail for another Titanic progress report today on Brickscale Studio. Welcome back to Brickscale Studio. My name is Jeff. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, today's episode is another progress report, so no building, but my goodness, we have made some great progress, especially on the scale model side. So let's take a look at the footage and then we can have a talk afterward. So to recap this episode, on the scale model side, we added the other turbo motor or thrust motor. And all the little accessories, so now we have like a mirror image, and then we also added all of the details to the second motor. So both of our motors are complete now. Just want to make sure this is still turning correctly, which it is. And then on the LEGO side, we completed this section that we started in the last episode, attached it to the main part of the ship, and then we started work on this component, which we will continue in the next episode. All right, so to recap what we have done on the scale model side, I feel like we got a lot done. We attached the two engines to the engine deck. We attached these propeller rods. We completed this piece. And then we also made this gearbox, which I'm sure is going to end up getting mounted in here somewhere. And then on the LEGO side, we also got a lot done. We got this front bridge piece finished, and then we got all of this decking on. But that is it for issue 18. All right, just to recap this episode. So on the scale model side, wow. So we've got all of this completed. We tested the motors. They work. The pistons turn. Awesome. And then on the LEGO side, we started this funnel piece. So next episode, we'll work on the funnel. So that is it for episode 19. All right, to recap what we've done on the scale model side, my goodness, I don't even know if this will all fit on here. We got this engine section. We got the engines mounted. We got the drive shafts in. We got the propellers, the motor. We tested the motor. Everything spins and turns. So a lot of progress. So that was awesome. And then over on the LEGO side, we finished this top piece with the funnel and attached this rigging. Also for the scale model side, we attached the second anchor to the bow section. So just to sort of orient yourself, so this is basically the section where we're at here, and then I believe next week we will be attaching the bow section for the LEGO piece, and then continuing on with the build, of course. So that will do it for episode 20. So before we get into the discussion about the progress, let's do the summary really quick. So total to date for the scale model, 259 steps and 464 parts. And on the LEGO side, 575 steps and 2,392 parts. All right, so like I said, we have made great progress, especially on the scale model side. Like, what a action-packed 4 episodes. We started off finishing the details on that motor. So we had both of the scale model motors completed. Then we built a gearbox and installed an actual motor, and then installed those propeller shafts and the propellers, and fired that all up and watched them spin in forward and reverse. So super exciting there. Plus we added onto the engine deck that back keel piece. So yeah, a lot of progress on the scale model side. And not to be outdone, on the LEGO side, we actually got a lot done there too. We finished building up those decks, we built the bridge, and then we also built our first funnel on the LEGO side. So that was exciting. And then in the next episode next week, we're actually going to be combining the two sections we've been building on the LEGO side. That bow section and then the section that we just put the funnel on, we're going to be combining those together. That's the very next step. The first thing we're going to do next week, I thought about just going ahead and doing it last week in the build or doing it in this video, but I didn't want to overshadow the scale model progress because, like I said, I don't know if it seems that way in the videos, but from my perspective, especially that first of the 4 videos, adding those teeny tiny little details to the scale model engine, that was such a big amount of work. Like, oh my gosh, that was so tedious and very detailed. So to actually finally be finished with that, having both of those attached to the engine deck and getting that all hooked up with the gearbox and the motor and watching that, you know, plugging that into the circuit board and watching those propellers turn was super exciting. So stay tuned next week where we continue our build on the scale model side. Honestly, I have not looked ahead, so I have no idea what's coming up. I don't know if we're gonna still be doing some things with that engine deck or we're gonna move on to a completely different part of the ship. I have no idea. It'll be just as big of a surprise to me as to you. And then on the LEGO side, as I alluded to, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be attaching those 2 sections together, and then we will be creating the hull pieces that will further join those 2 halves together. And I'm not sure if it will be in the first episode back next week or the one after, but we'll be done with box number 1 of the Titanic. We're almost a third of the way through. So once we get those sections combined and the hull plates put on, that's going to be put aside, and then we're going to be working on the middle section of the ship. So we're going to put that other section aside and start all over again in box number 2, building up that middle section from the ground up. So stay tuned for that. And then, of course, on Saturday, we're back with the Batmobile, the 1966 Batmobile. We're back there. And then Tuesday, we have an exciting progress report on the Optimus Prime build. We sort of hit a milestone in that build as well. We're coming down to the final stages in that build series, so definitely stay tuned for that. But until we see each other again, as always, remember to like, share, subscribe. It really helps out with the channel and getting it noticed. And again, we're trying to hit those subscriber milestones so we can give away more free LEGO to you. And as always, until we see each other again, happy building, take care, be kind to each other, and I will see you soon.